All right, so hi everyone. Thank you all for joining this webinar. My name is Kirby, and for today's webinar, we're going to talk about SharePoint metadata. So for those of you who are not familiar with metadata, it's data that describes data, and I'm happy to be here with Joanne. She's going to explain further on how you can use SharePoint metadata to improve the discoverability of your site contents and configure it in a way that it makes sense to your business so you can easily track files and information in SharePoint. So Joanne, if you're ready, you may now start the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Kirby. And good morning to everyone. I'm Joanne, and I'm going to be talking about SharePoint metadata and term sets. But before we dive into the presentation, let's have a poll. Okay. I'm not sure if everyone is seeing the poll now. Kirby, can you see it? Okay, there it goes. Okay, so the question is, if you have a library or list with a large set of documents, what search feature are you using to find the right documents? One, maybe you're using the SharePoint built-in search function. Maybe you're using the SharePoint built-in filters, and perhaps you're using custom views with filters, so you don't have to search that much. And the last option here is after finding your documents using the above methods, you still can't find the right documents. So I'll keep that up for a few seconds to wait for your answers. Okay, it looks like 100% answer that you're using the SharePoint built-in search function. So I think that's the most obvious feature in SharePoint. Thank you. Thank you for your answers. Okay, so I'll proceed now with my next slide. Today's topic is what is SharePoint metadata and why should I care? So it's in a question format, and I want you to think about these questions.
Joanne, sorry, we're still in the seeing the quick poll.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'll close it. Thank you. Okay. So hope you can see my slide now. So I want you to think about these questions for a moment because I'm sure that not everyone is familiar with SharePoint metadata, and maybe you're wondering how this feature can add benefit to your form. And this actually leads up to other questions like, how can this solve document search problems? And how easy can I set this up? So maybe those questions are you have those questions in your mind right now. And we're going to answer those questions as we go along. But take note that we're not going to dive deep into this topic. We're just going to learn the concept and how to apply the basics with qRules and Forms Viewer. Okay? But if you'd like to read more about SharePoint metadata, I've come up with a list of references here that can help. And we're including the slides in the package so you can review the references later if you're interested in reading them. All right. So let's discuss different ways how you can search your documents in SharePoint. And I've listed the pros and cons here. But before I talk about that, let me show you how you can search your documents in SharePoint. So let me go to my site really quick here. Okay, so most of you answer that you're using this site box, and it's actually the most obvious search feature here. And if I type in my name, it's going to search through this site collection and returns results for me. So it's finding that keyword, and it's looking for all documents, folders that matches the keyword that I type in the search box. So it's like searching everything. It can search conversation and all subsites that reside in this site collection. So that's one. And if I go to a SharePoint list, there's also a search box here at the top of the list where I can put in my keyword and search for my items here. And that's odd that it's not working. Okay, let's try it one more time. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if it's a bug in SharePoint right now. So that's SharePoint list, and this one is a form library, and there's also a search box feature here. And I think that the advantage of using this out-of-the-box SharePoint list and form library search boxes are your searches are narrowed down. So if you know where the documents are residing, which form library it was submitted, then you just go into that form library or list and search for that document there. So those are the other two. And there's also this advanced search feature in SharePoint that I just found out a few days ago. It's not really obvious that SharePoint has this feature. So I access that by going to my SharePoint root site, and for example, I type in something and I selected everything, and here's the advanced search. So it's not obvious to users that SharePoint has this, but it's good that I can search for keywords, exact phrase, or partial words, right? So those are the different ways how you can search your documents in SharePoint. So let me go back to my slide here. So advantages is it works out of the box. It's already there and it's built in, so it's good. It can search for keywords in file names, even the text inside of files, and you can search in the library or list. And also there's this advanced search. But since the search feature, the search engine runs through all the site and subsites, you might be getting too many irrelevant results. And it also searches for all types of content, not just document. As I showed you, it's showing folders, showing PDF files, so it's displaying any content for you. And based on my experience, when the list search was working for me, I can only query words from the title columns, and the advanced search, like I said, is not too obvious to users. All right, so now how can you improve your SharePoint search? I'm guessing everyone is interested in that. So SharePoint has a built-in taxonomy feature that allows you to organize metadata in a way that makes sense in your company or business. And so this is the taxonomy term store tool, and I'll show you how you can find this page. So back in my site, I'll go to site settings, and under site administration, click on this term store management. Okay, so this is where you can manage the metadata. It's a tool that SharePoint provides to allow you to manage your data or metadata. And metadata, like Kirby said, is information about information. For example, you have a book item. A book has author and title details, and those details are metadata. So this tool is built to help you manage your documents metadata. And in order for you to access the term store management tool, you need to first get permissions. I think that most global admins can access this, but they also have to be term store administrators. So a term store administrator should add you in here. So after you have permissions, you'll be able to access the term store. And then once you navigate here, you can click on this taxonomy root. Okay, Kirby, can you still hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I just clicked on the root of taxonomy and it shows me this new group option, and then click that and create a new group. So in this case, my group is called My Store. And under this group, you will create a new term set. Okay, so click New Term Set. So this is my term set that it's already created there, called Products. And a term set is a group of related terms. So I have terms under my products. So it's basically product category that I want to use for my items. And so to add terms, you just click on the term set and select create term. So a term is, it can be a specific word or phrase that you associate with an item on a SharePoint site. And if I click on this, it has a unique identifier, and I can also add several labels for my term. And so the term sets information that you add here, we can query it using qRules. So to explain it further, the concept is when you submit item to a list, you will tag those items with the terms using the manage metadata column, and then we will query the term set information in the info path form using qRules and use that to filter the documents. And I'll show you how you can do a simple term set query later in my demo. Okay. And back in my slide. So in this slide, this is just a little bit of inspiration for you, since everyone across the world have been staying at home, as you know. I see more and more people are trying to think of ways to organize their homes, and maybe some just ran out of things to do. And for some, organizing gives this sense of structure and peace of mind. So this is just a sample inspiration for you. So, you know, if we can organize things at home, why not in SharePoint, right? And we can also categorize our documents, and it's very easy to do. So that's just an inspiration. Next is I created a sample scenario here. So my scenario is an inventory search. So imagine that you're a store logistics manager. And today you want to know how many boxes of MedGuard mask you have in store in your Seattle branch. if it's under 10 boxes, then you want to send email to the warehouse team to send the Seattle branch 50 boxes. So I'm going to demo my sample form that shows you how you can do that. Opening my form now. Okay. So this is a dashboard form that is using the flex task pane technique that we demoed in our webinar probably last April or May. And it's cool because it's flexing like a fly up section here. So I want to display the items here. So I'm the manager and I'm going to search for that item. So branch is Seattle. So by the way, the terms are here in this drop down. So just going back to my term store here, as you can see products, and this level here has children under it. So that's what we'll be showing here. So yep, so things like that. So I'm gonna look for health and personal care because I want to look for masks, essentials. Okay, so Seattle branch shows just 5 boxes. So I want to supply this branch with, let's say, 50 more boxes. So I'll click supply and I have this nice overlay here to select the option that I want to supply to that branch. And I have an email button here that can email the team to send that branch the supply that they need. And I click email and email has been sent to the warehouse. And that's just a a sample demo. There's no actual email in the behind that, so just a demo. Okay, so the most important thing here is that we're displaying the term sets here in the task pane. Okay, so that's how the problem was solved in that scenario. Back in my slide here. So how can you add the SharePoint term sets into your form? First, you need to create a taxonomy in the SharePoint term store. And this requires some planning because you really need to carefully think of what term sets you're going to use for your documents. So it needs a little bit of planning. And once you have your taxonomy ready, then you can add a manage metadata column in the list. And you need to add a column because the form requires that metadata column, so we can query the metadata information in your list. And it's just like adding a regular column in a list. It's just that you're selecting the metadata type. Okay. Then after that, you need to inject qRules with term sets. Then you need to add 2 data connection to SOAP Web Services to query get term sets and get lists. And then the last piece is to add the form logic. And the form logic, the steps are provided in the PDF guide that we're also including in the package. So I'll show you a quick demo here how you can easily apply that. So I have this sample inventory form here that I've already prepared. So the first thing, like I said, is create the taxonomy, and then so we already have that, and then create the the column, the manage metadata column, and to add that, you'll need to go to your SharePoint list, click list settings, and click create column. And here, just type in the name for your metadata column and select manage metadata. And after selecting that, your page will refresh for a bit and you will have term settings options here. And then type your term set here and click this little search icon. And then your term set will appear in this box. Select it and then click OK. But I'm not going to do that because I already have the column in my SharePoint list. Okay, so after that, you need to inject the form with term sets. And before we inject this form, we need to close it. And then you need to download the qRules injector. You can download this in our website. And the qRules injector allows you to inject your form with Qdabra rules and include this term set APIs here. So check that box and click inject. Okay, inject successfully. And after injecting, it will add an extra data connection to your form. So aside from Qdabra rules, you're going to get this XML here called Qdabra rules _ term sets. Okay. Then, okay. So after injecting your form with qRules, we need to add 2 data connections. So click data connections, click add, receive data, SOAP web service. And okay, for a moment here. So you need to query this taxonomy client service.asmx. Click next. Okay, then select get term sets. And just leave all parameters blank. Click next, next, and then check this and leave the data connection name as is, get term sets, because the rules will look for that later. Click finish, add another data connection, receive data, SOAP web service. Let's connect to this other one, lists.asmx. Okay. Okay, then find the get list operation, click next, and here for the list name, type your SharePoint list name. Okay, click next and type it again and use the same name, uncheck this, click finish, close. Okay, so we're done with 5 steps. So the last thing is to add form logic to our form. So I'm going to use this field here, product category. I will change this control to a drop-down list box. And we want to query the first level of term sets. So we're not going to drill down to this children, but just this level. Okay. So right-click on the drop-down and select drop-down list box properties, get choices from an external data source. Select the Qdabra rules _ term sets data source. for entries, let's select the T node. And okay, so I just clicked filter data, click add, and let's search for the A40 node. Okay, I'll explain later what this means. Okay, so so the condition is blank. A40 is blank. Click OK. And for value, leave that to A9, and display name is A32. Click apply, click OK. And there's one more thing you need to add is add a rule under finish loading. Select actions. And run this action only when finish loading is equals to true. Add and set the field's value. Set the command node to this command. It's basically running the get term set IDs and supplying the list parameter with my list SharePoint list name. Okay, then add another action to set the command node to get term sets. Okay, so you need those two. Okay, then I'll save this. Okay, save. And then I will upload this to my test template. Nice. Okay. Okay, upload, date. Okay, let's test it now. Okay, so my product category dropdown are now showing the term sets, as you can see. But in the dashboard that I showed you, you notice that it is a cascading dropdown. So if I select something from the parent term, it will get the child terms for that parent. So if you need or if you want to copy this cascading dropdown technique for term sets, you can look for the PDF file, and there's a cascading section here. So just follow the steps under this section, and you'll be good. Okay. So back in my slide. So, okay, so like I said earlier, the term set XML data connection is it's using some weird fields that I actually don't understand at first. So I found this cheat sheet from Jimmy's past webinar, and I copied that. And so I learned that the T node will return all terms for you, and A9 is the term ID, A32 is the term name or the display name, A25 is the parent term ID, A40 is the parent term path. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on here, and so you just need to know the most important fields and what values are returned on those fields. So that's the key in learning this method. So those are the meaning of the source values. Next. Okay, So, okay, so aside from the ability to edit terms, move terms, I also found out that uh, the term store has this ability to set languages. So if you are working on a multilingual company, maybe you have a language preference, you can also set the language for your term. So in the term store, you can select the language. For example, here it's showing French, and then you can add the translation for the term in French. And then it also has this ability to import terms using Excel. If you have just a handful of terms to add in the term store, then it's okay to add them manually. But if you have hundreds of terms or thousands of terms to add, then it will be wise to use this option. So SharePoint is giving you an option to add the terms using an import using an Excel file. So they provided the sample import file, and you can download that in the term store and just follow the format, and then right click on the group and import the term set using that Excel file. Okay, so that's about it for my demo for this get term sets. If you have any questions, feel free to add them in the chat window, and I'll try my best to answer your questions. In the meantime, I'll pass the mic to Kirby so she can talk about Forms Viewer. Kirby?
All right. So can we go to the Forms Viewer slide, please? Thanks. So yeah, I just want to talk briefly about Forms Viewer. If you haven't heard about it, I encourage you to check it out in the SharePoint App Store. We've just released Forms Viewer version 5.2 this month. It's a solution that we're offering for those who have invested in InfoPath. It allows you to move your InfoPath forms forward without having to rebuild them from scratch. Forms Viewer isn't just a replacement for InfoPath. You can extend your forms and make them look better for today's modern world. Our support for CSS and JavaScript means your forms can be quickly upgraded to add responsive rendering for mobile browsers and can have other cool features such as PDF rendering and even mobile authentication. So if you want a quick demo of Forms Viewer and what it can offer you, feel free to drop us an email at support@qdabra.com, and we'd be happy to schedule a meeting with you.
Okay, thanks, Kirby.
So,
All right. So I was looking at the questions window and I don't see any questions from the audience. So thank you for joining. We'll look forward to sending you the package. Thanks, and hope you see you next time in our next webinar. Thank you. Have a great day.